Hello everyone, welcome to the Red Men TV for your daily news. It's Tuesday and I am joined by Will Howell from LFC Focus.
Hello.
Taking the place of Chris Pajak, which is reasonably sized shoes to fill, I guess.
Big, yeah.
I mean, he's a size 9.
11.
Piece of piss. Nailed it. So we've got some news. You've been looking through this morning as well, so we'll crack through some of it. Let's get through some of the less likely and or interesting stuff first. Maxi Romero, tell us what you know.
He's 18 years old, plays for an Argentinian club at the moment. So there's been a bit of talk about whether or not we're going to bring him in because obviously we know Klopp's got a record with developing youngsters and everything. But as it stands, it looks very much like it's...
Complete bollocks?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Daily Express, I think this was from.
I think it was the Express, yeah. So
what was the phrasing? Was it like considering a move?
Liverpool it might have even been considering interest in the player, to be honest. It really was, 5 a.m. stuff.
Yeah, tenuous at best.
Not much is going on.
Yeah,
in that.
I wouldn't expect too much from that. Yeah. So another one that's not great. Not great.
It's not a great start, is it?
Yeah. Peresnel Kaimpembe.
Yeah.
Another one that's almost a non-story.
Yeah.
To some extent, he's 21 years old, just out of interest. He got 28 appearances in all competitions with PSG last year. The story is Liverpool and Everton made inquiries.
Inquiries about him, yeah, and PSG just rebuffed that and said no, because apparently they want him to play a role in the first team next season and not looking to sell any first team players. So another one where Liverpool have asked, they've said no. And
sensational, genuinely sensational. Yeah. I love the fact that that's a thing. Will there be any more on that? Who's to tell? But by all accounts, looks like a good, potentially good player. But I would take that with a pinch of salt, absolutely. So we've got a couple of things. I want to talk a little bit more about Naby Keita in a minute, but let's get to what's effectively the top story at the moment. So Andy Robertson. It's been reported by Sky that we're in talks with him, which I think that's a logical follow-on. I'm not certain that it would necessarily at this instant. I'm not certain they're right now sat at a table, locked in talks per se. But the story comes from he's left Hull's training camp.
He's left Hull's warm weather training camp in Portugal, as has another player who presumably is also leaving. But yeah, that's starting to look like one of those deals where it is pretty much certainly going to happen. Yeah. It's just a matter of waiting until it gets over the line. But apparently the fee's been agreed, which is £8 million rising to £10 million or something like that. They want Ryan Kent on loan as well. But obviously in this window, especially the fee tends to be the biggest stumbling block. So now that's apparently over the line. It'll probably just be a matter of personal terms with the player and everything.
It looks like this is the first and only transfer of the summer that we've done in the right order.
Yeah, where it's agreed fee and then spoken to the player rather than having a chat with the player and then letting
things follow on.
Yeah,
allegedly. It does look like it does look incredibly likely at this point, to the point where we're stepping out of the territory of rumours and almost into news, which is amazing.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is amazing. So, just quickly, your thoughts on Robertson, if you have any?
Well, I haven't really seen much of him playing because obviously he's playing for Hull and I don't really watch Hull play that much, no. But I read a couple of articles from a few people who'd watched him when he played at Dundee, which is apparently a better way of gauging what it would be like at Liverpool, because Dundee, when he was playing there, they were more attacking. They were more about playing entertaining football, and they had the same kit that we'll have next season. But obviously Hull, it's difficult to gauge what it would be like at Liverpool because they're completely different systems. But I think the main thing for me is that, Klopp's identified the player and said, I want him at Liverpool. And we found out last summer that when he does that, it's a pretty good indication that the player's going to do well. Players like Gini Wijnaldum and stuff like that.
Well, that's a great example. Yeah.
All power to him. I'm hoping he does well and hopefully pushes James Milner a little bit for that left back spot.
You know what? I had a little think about this last night. And the one thing Liverpool have been lacking that most successful Liverpool teams have had over the years is a Scot in the mix.
Yeah, I remember seeing that as well. It was always like 80s, wasn't it? They always had Scotsmen around the club.
Scotsmen and Irishmen, and even going back to like the treble season, we had Gary McAllister in and around there. There's been a distinct lack of Scots. Now, this may have something to do with the fact that Scottish football is
not amazing.
Shit. Yeah. But I'm fine with it. I don't think I don't get player names on the back of my shirts anyway. But I wouldn't be getting Robertson one way or the other.
Oh yeah.
I don't think many will. Maybe maybe lads in Scotland will do. Maybe that's a thing. But it's one of them. He's a left back, isn't he?
If he's the last player we sign this window, then I think we'll all be disappointed.
Yeah.
But if we can sign another few big names, and obviously it clears a lot of money as well if we're signing a left back for only £8 million, which is a very good price for this window, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
I'll see him come in.
Completely agree with that. It's so let's talk about Keita then. Yeah. So you did a video yesterday on LFC Focus, which was completely the opposite
of what you did. I was about to upload
here.
it, and about 6 minutes before I did, I noticed that you put out a video saying he's going to sign for Liverpool, and mine was saying that he's not going to sign for Liverpool.
So this is the confusion that we're facing right now, isn't it? The kind of the way the timeline's gone on this. It started very much like, Leipzig set the stall out. No, not interested. He's not for sale. We've grown as a club, meaning we can match his ambitions in the Champions League, etc., etc. Liverpool quite clearly have identified him as, if not top, certainly joint top target of the summer.
Van Dijk,
And moving that forward, the story started to break last week that we put a bid in for like £59-ish million. That was rejected. It's weird that the tone in this country seems very much like this is an inevitability. It's going to happen. Whereas in Germany, it's almost the exact opposite.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying was I think it might be a bit of game playing on Leipzig's part. So maybe if they do end up selling the player, they can use those German reports as evidence that they didn't want to sell him and that at the end of the day they had no choice. Say that the player forced the move through or something like that. But yeah, I think I'm still neither here nor there over whether or not he's going to sign. It's in limbo at the moment, really, isn't it?
I think that's the thing. All the solid reporting being done, and it's like every single day to the point where it drives you. You could drive you mental. You could have mental with it, really, couldn't you? Is that it looks like it's not gonna happen. But again, the word on the grapevine still persists that this is going to happen. Like the businessmen at Leipzig are keen to accept a big bid, whereas the football men don't want to sell him, because why would the football men want to sell him? Because he's a good player. So obviously, it still looks as though there's going to be a little bit more. A twist or two in this potentially in the short term. It'd be interesting to see what would happen, because I get the impression that they've got this Hong Kong stuff now for the rest of the week, and then they fly to Germany for the training camp, and I have a feeling it's like Wednesday. I feel it's like Tuesday or Wednesday next week is when they fly to Germany. I think that's the case, and that's when the real fitness stuff and the real drilled down stuff starts for Liverpool, and Klopp will want his players there by that point. So it wouldn't shock me to see things start to move.
Well, I imagine that's when it's going to start being about getting the players to adapt to his system and everything, whereas now it's simply about getting them back to full fitness and everything. But I was thinking, once Liverpool have lodged this second bid that apparently they're going to make, apparently they're upgrading their offer to like £65 million or something like that, I think that's when we'll know whether or not this deal is going to progress. Because if we bid that and Leipzig say, no, we're still not interested, then it's clear that they genuinely don't want to sell and they're not going to bother. But if they start listening to what we've got to say after that, then we'll know that something's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get to some of your comments then. Tom's smiling away, which normally means it's something offensive I don't want to read. Great to the bottom. Is it super chat? Is it a super chat?
Whee.
Woo! Oh, come on, Tom. Super chat, where is it?
Very bottom.
Okay. It's defo. I can't see it. You're going to have to shout it.
Benjamin James Clark, which could be D. James Clark, I don't know. He says £2, so thank you. And hashtag new guy nudes.
Excellent. There we go. Yeah,
I did think I may have to prepare for this.
Yeah, I know. We didn't pre-warn Will that he was gonna have to get naked according to the comments. So yeah, we'll slide that one to one side for the moment. So Goat points out Charlie Adams, a Scot that we've had recently. That is very true.
I think we've all erased him from memory, haven't we?
Genuinely speaking,
I can't remember him.
I completely forgotten that he was even a Liverpool player. So yeah, that's
like to forget.
Conor Robinson said he would cry if Keita came. Probably a double entendre there, which I'm going to avoid. Official Inception says, to be honest, I think Robertson will be a good signing. He's young and Klopp can definitely improve players. Look at players like Lallana and Lovren as proof. That's the thing for me, Will, is that no one's saying Robertson's amazing. I've seen people saying, I've watched loads of him, I didn't think he was great. as you kind of point out there, I'm not sure Hull's necessarily a great barometer. There must be something there, because why would you bother? I just think we'd go and buy an 18-year-old, or we'd go and buy, you know what I mean? We'd go and buy something else.
I mean, it comes back to this whole idea that's been going throughout the whole window, that Klopp is buying players who add an extra dimension to his squad, bring qualities that the players that he's got don't have, and also bring actual extra quality as well in terms of giving the team a boost in terms of squad depth and everything. So, yeah, and I think the important thing about him being fairly young, I mean, he's like 22, 23, something like that, means that he'll be able to adapt to Klopp's system, because I think being a fullback in Klopp's system is very, very important and has a lot more requirements than, say, other Premier League clubs. So I think it's important that they can adapt.
Yeah, I just look at it and I just think, for the money there, maybe it is a case that like Ryan Sessegnon remains a longer term target, and they know that he's definitely going to give Fulham another year. They'll have another try at him next summer, and you know, it just seems like a no brainer. I agree. I think this is sort of coloured by what else we do this transfer window. If he's just if he was like if you ordered your signings like Salah, Van Dijk, Keita, Robertson, Solanke, you'd be like, wow, we've rounded out the window really nicely. But the fact that he's come slap back in the middle while the Keita stuff's still ongoing makes you kind of think, it detracts from it a little bit, which it shouldn't be.
It's like when we signed Solanke and Man City then went and signed two £40 million players, and everyone lost their minds a little bit. So
we announced Solanke and Man United announced Lukaku.
Yeah.
It happens. Rizwan Ali, super chat. Woo! New Zealand, $5. Since the Robertson deal seems to be coming through, knock wood, we get Keita and Van Dijk. Do we still need Oxlade-Chamberlain holding out new deal? For me, kind of was saying, Oxlade-Chamberlain for me completes as like a perfect window. I wouldn't want him instead of any of the other top targets. I wouldn't say, if we don't get Keita, let's get him instead.
Yeah.
But if we got Keita and Van Dijk and Robertson, and then we right at the end of the window we pulled out an Oxlade-Chamberlain, giving us versatility. I don't know about yourself, but I think that was.
I'd be happy with him at Liverpool, because obviously, I mean, you've got the issues like if Mane or Salah gets injured, you need an extra winger. When they both presumably go to AFCON the year after this, we'll need extra wingers as well. But I think again, it's like that Wijnaldum signing. It's something you do at the end of the window when you've got your main targets out the way, the ones that are vital to getting into the squad ready for next season, and then you can sign these extra players that will be useful but not necessarily hugely important come the rest of the season. Absolutely.
So Stan Reynolds, super chat, woo! £2. Who out of Milner or Robertson should start Champions League or would start Champions League? So what we talked about on the final word this week was look at the first half and second half Wigan teams, how we played the same formation but it was completely different because of personnel. And you look at having a left-footed left-back, I think Milner plays all your important games until Robertson proves himself to be good enough. But there's an option, I think, for having a left-footed left-back means that you can play an inverted winger. So if you want to play Mane on the left wing, cut inside, it helps to have someone who can go past him on the left-hand side on his stronger foot. Whereas obviously where we suffered a little bit last season was Milner and Coutinho both cutting inside. Does hamper your options.
Everything stagnated whenever we got down that side. I think what's going to happen is, in terms of Champions League football, it depends almost entirely on the opponent for me, really, because I think Milner's fine against big teams when a lot is asked of him defensively. He fulfills that role quite well, but it's when we're attacking and you need those players coming in on the overlap that he doesn't really do much, and that's why to the end of last season I was kind of wanting to see a little bit of Moreno just to see whether he could do that job.
Well, he had that moment in West Brom, didn't he? And a chance to prove himself, and then completely screwed it up. It's true. Okay, so Dor Sam says instead of Robertson, why not promote from within? Surely just as good. I think this is the issue. I don't think we have anyone to promote within at the moment. Certainly not in the left back position.
Yeah, I think there's a few people who have played left back for the academy, but a lot of the time I think there may be centre backs who've been forced out of left back, or right backs who've been forced out of left back. So again, it comes this thing of they won't be left-footed players either. And I think Klopp mentioned recently he was glad to have Salah in because he wanted more left-footers in the squad to give his side a bit more balance. So I think academy-wise we don't really have much going on there. But maybe that's what the role that Robertson's meant to fulfil. Maybe he's going to come in and play mostly for the under-23s for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll need to get up to speed, won't he? I just think, if we're playing 2 games a week, we saw Milner. He didn't fall off a cliff. He handled himself, I think. But he definitely struggled with the intensity for a full season.
He was much better at the start of the season at left back than he was at the end.
Absolutely. And I just think being able to just take him out for 15 games.
Yeah.
Would probably look. It just gives him 15 games at a higher standard, potentially, if nothing else. So yeah. Just let's see if we get one more comment before we go. Dhruv Raval, Aubameyang to Liverpool still a possibility? I would say absolutely not. Can't see that happening at this point. It's a shame. I'd love him, but by all accounts, it kind of looked like Klopp didn't get on with him.
Klopp didn't really want him, and I think he's 28 years old, isn't he? And that's not really. I know FSG are apparently changing their ways a little bit. They want to spend a bit more money this window, but it's still not their model to sign players for big fees and then have to sell them on 2 years later or keep them when they're lower quality.
I think, it's easy to say this, I guess, right now because everything's amazing in pre-season and the opposition's not been great. But if Daniel Sturridge looked sharp, Origi looked okay when we saw him. Solanke, I think, settled in really nicely as well. And Firmino's just class, isn't he? So I think we've kind of... It's not necessarily what everyone wants to hear, and maybe your ultimate teams and they're not going to be amazing as a result of having those players there instead of Aubameyang. But I think in the real world, I think we've got some great variation in the options that we've got. And sure, having someone who can just do it all would be lovely, nice. But I'm not sure it's a priority.
And again,
for
if we wanted to upgrade in that position, we'd need to spend a lot of money and get a player like Aubameyang, but because it's not a priority. We're not really willing to spend that money in those areas.
It's like if Man City add Sanchez, that's because Man City are Man City, and that's just how they operate. They can afford to spend 70-odd million quid on a player they don't really need. Whereas Liverpool, it looks like I've taken a step in the right direction, and they're prepared to spend big money on players that they really want and need. But I don't think there's then, in addition to that, like, let's just have a laugh and throw 70 million quid into the bucket because it'd be for shits and giggles, effectively. I don't think that's the club that Liverpool are or probably ever will be, if I'm perfectly honest. Right, yes, that will do us. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Do go and check out LSC Focus on YouTube for more of Will as well, doing a daily news show, doing really well with the transfer stuff as well. So yeah, more, and you're here for the next couple of days as well. So. See him on more videos. It's going to be great. We're going to be doing some stuff around the Crystal Palace game. The build-up show's out, and if you want more from me on my channel as well, you can click there. That's Mates TV, LSC Focus, and watch more videos and be happier people. Thanks for watching. More news tomorrow. Ta-ra.
Keep filling.
Ah!